Good morning.
Morning. Good morning, Cherie. How are you doing this morning?
Getting ready to head to the
Good
airport,
morning.
love.
Good morning. Oh,
Did I
good.
get that
Okay.
right?
Well, enjoy your trip.
Thank you, ma'am. Oh, Shannon, I had brought the bowl back to you. You weren't at the office though, but I left it in your office.
Thank you, love.
You're welcome, honey bun, and I hope you feel better.
Cherie, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
A little bit.
Oh, is that better?
A little bit.
Okay. Maybe it's this headset. Take it out and see if that works a bit better. Is that better?
That's better. Thank you.
Awesome.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Is it morning where you are?
No, it's 11:30 at night.
Oh Lord, I'm sorry to keep you up.
Oh no, don't be silly. I wouldn't have said yes if I didn't want to do it.
We're gonna get
Oh, it's
started
nice.
here in a little bit.
Awesome.
Okay, guys, we're gonna get started today with our conversation here in just a minute. But I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to, if you have any questions or anything you want to talk about beforehand, please let me know. Other than that, today I'm really super excited about our conversation. It's always good to have some mental practices as well as real estate practices. So today I want you guys to we're gonna have an open-minded conversation and ask a lot of questions, get a lot of information because it's highly imperative for us to be able to maneuver through this thing we call entrepreneurship and life all at the same time. So do you guys have anything before we get started today? Everybody good? Excuse me, y'all. I still have a little cough.
Yeah, just a quick announcement. We do have so much going on today in office, so please join us at 9:30. We'll kick off Smile and Dow. If you don't have a list of leads, that is the place to get it. So please come in and you'll be able to get your own personal list based on the zip code you want to work in so that you can smile and dial those leads. Just following that, we'll have at 11 a.m. a lunch and learn. Our guest from yesterday, Naisha Earls, is a lender, as you all may know, and she's going to host us for lunch, but also introduce us in a deeper way to the products that she was talking about on yesterday. And then following that at noon, we'll have contracts addendums class. That one will be one you certainly want to get involved with. A lot of times we don't know what addendums to use in the moment or why we use them. And so that'll all be broken down at noon. And you'll have a chance to gain 3 hours of continuing education credits. So join via Zoom or come into office, and for those that are in the brokerage, you've already gotten a set of those addendums in your inbox. If anyone else needs them, please put it in the chat.
All right. Good morning, everyone. So we have a guest. Her name is Cherie. I want you guys to really make use of this call. We're in two different time zones. So where she is today is 11:30. So she did stay up and agree to have this conversation with us. And when I say 11:30, I mean 11:30 p.m. So I'm super excited to actually have a conversation with her today. We have started following each other on Instagram. So that's one of the benefits of the internet is to meet people all around the world. So before we get in our conversation, I want to give her an opportunity to introduce herself and her specialty. So go ahead, Sherry.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's awesome to be here. I'm a mindset coach and I work with people mostly with trauma and uncovering subconscious beliefs and working through those and then opening up their mind to being able to be in control and in charge of their life in a much bigger, broader way. But yeah, mindset is the key to everything basically. So I work with that quite a lot. And yeah, I'm excited to talk to you guys about it.
Okay, so I'm glad that you brought that up. That a lot of mindset is developed from trauma. When I'm
Mm-hmm.
teaching and coaching, I always tell people that there is an underlying issue that we all deal with, which is the reason why we cannot perform at our highest level every day.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
we also kind of forget sometimes that our mind is a muscle.
Mm.
So we do have control of it if we have certain practices. So I saw some of the stuff that you were posting, and you were talking about 5 ways to dramatically improve your mindset. Can you go into that with us for a second?
Yeah. So there's a bunch of ways that you can do it. The post you're talking about, the journaling, affirmations. Um, I actually forget which ones I put on there because I use quite a broad range of tools. But it's becoming aware of your thoughts, and as you go through the day, and really it's a practice being aware of what you're thinking, because your thoughts are running your life basically. Thoughts create emotions, emotions create actions, and actions create results, and that's then what you're dealing with in your reality. So it's a practice of being mindful and being aware of what you're thinking. So you guys are obviously in real estate. So if you're running a program of real estate's really difficult, or it's hard to get leads, or it's difficult to be an entrepreneur in this thing, those are then creating your experiences. They're running the show. So each time that, that might not be it, but each time you're running into those kinds of thought patterns, it's then becoming aware of it and changing it, and it becomes a practice and a way of being.
So you hit it right on the nail. Most real estate agents, a lot of the people on this line is new. They're trying to find their way. We're trying to get to a point where we can take off this corporate hat and put on an entrepreneur hat. So we are saying, you know what, this is not as easy as I thought it was. I don't know where to find leads. I don't know what to say to the people. So realistically, everybody has this thing that they say, and read a lot of stuff on the internet. But if I'm in that position, what's the first step I take? Like, realistically, what should I do to help me change and be more mindful of my mindset?
Start listening, really. When you start listening to what is actually going on in your mind, you may be surprised. And
Mm.
then I see in myself and in my clients, you have kind of a surface level of thoughts that you're running, and you start becoming aware of those. And then you'll actually find that there's even a deeper layer of thoughts that are coming up that are less noticeable. And you'll even start to see those come up too. So you might start saying, like, finding leads is really easy. I talking to people is really easy, and start saying some affirmations around that. But then you might see in the background, when you start practicing this, that there's a background noise of, my clients don't like me, or this is really difficult, or this deal's going to fall through, or things of that nature. So it's really becoming super aware and listening to what's going on in your mind.
So I know this is going to sound crazy, but how do we listen to our mind? What's that practice?
It's literally hearing what you're telling yourself. And it might sound crazy and it might sound hard when you're first starting, but we're all running these thoughts and these programs throughout our lives and our day to day. So you can start with meditating and see what comes up. You can start with journaling and see what comes up. And then once you start to notice them, begin to reprogram them. With affirmations, I use EFT. Uh, there's a range of things that you can do, but the first thing is awareness, because if you don't know what the problem is, it's really difficult to change it.
So I'm an adult, and so I have beliefs and myths in my mind that
Mm-hmm.
this exercise is crazy, it's hard, I can't get this done. How do I? What does that look like? Is this a private conversation I'm having with myself, or a time that I set aside? Well, like, what's the best time to sit down and listen to my thoughts? Because if I just by you saying that, I'm gonna be honest, that gave me anxiety. My mind never turns off, right? I'm
Yeah,
always
mine doesn't
thinking.
either.
Yeah, so I'm
Mine
always
doesn't.
thinking. So how do
Yes.
you what's a good time of day, and what position do I need to be in to actually listen to myself?
If you're just starting out, you can start out small, but just maybe when you wake up, maybe set your intention for the day might be a good way to start. If this is a new thing for you guys, start and set your intention for the day. So uh, I know you guys might use time blocking or things like that. So start setting out your intention. And as you're doing that, just listen for what might come up about, oh, that's too many things, there's not enough time, that's not going to work, or whatever is coming up for you guys. It's going to be really specific to you and your programming and beliefs that you have around what's going on in your lives.
So you also mentioned journaling. So before I open it
Mm-hmm.
up for questions, you mentioned journaling, and I saw that you had posted what the benefits of journaling is. So
Mm-hmm.
the purpose of it is to organize your thoughts, and it actually is one of the starts of being mindful of what's going through your mind,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Definitely.
it increases our awareness. So journaling, what am I writing down, and does it matter if what it is I'm writing down is just a practice?
It's the practice, and it's just getting it out and getting it onto the paper. Because if you're one of those people like me that is always thinking, it just helps to write it out. And you become a lot more aware. It does help with becoming aware of what you're thinking and where your mind's going and what you're believing. If you start writing out, you can start with all the positive things, and then you can go, okay, well, what didn't go right for me today? Or, what hasn't been going the way that I want it to? And then write it out, see what comes out. You might be surprised.
So I got it, I wrote it down, and now I have all of this stuff on the paper, which makes me even scarier. What do I do next?
It's not as scary as it might seem. It's a mindfulness, it's a practice of becoming aware of what's going on, and then actively working to change it. So if you let's say that you've got a programming of insecurity. Let's say that you feel anxious, you feel like you're not good enough, you feel like you're not doing this job good enough. When you start to become aware of that kind of programming and those kinds of thoughts that are running, your interactions, because all your interactions are coming from that fear. When you work to then resolve that fear and understand that it's not true, you change everything about it. Sorry, I think I got a little bit lost there. Forgive me, it is late.
No, it's fine.
um, yes, so you've got all your stuff, you find that program, you find that fear, then you know what you're working with. Then you know what your issue is and where it's stemming from, and you can start to begin to work with yourself. And this does help when you get a coach that does help with this stuff and helps you narrow down, like, what is it that's actually showing up in my life and in my world? Where are these thoughts coming from, and how do I work to reprogram them? But a lot of it you can do yourself. So you can follow people and get the kind of tools and tips that you need.
So you said, okay, so get a mindset coach. What's the difference between getting we have everybody in the world pretty much has a negative connotation about what therapy is. I'm a true believer that everybody needs a couch, but a lot of people are just fearful of the exercise, right? So what's the difference between what you do in therapy?
I think what I do with my clients does kind of cross over into the counseling therapy range, just because I have so much experience with trauma. I've got a massive range of trauma that I've experienced and healed. So I think in my practice, for me in particular, it does cross over into that counselor thing. But I think my range of tools and understanding of how the mind and reality works and how that all ties in together. And for me, I see it when people start talking to me about what's going on. I can see it really clearly how it ties back into their childhood. Usually, people generally end up with a theme that runs through a lot of their experiences in their life.
Oh, so you sound like me. So half of my no, 95% of my coaching sessions turn into therapy sessions. But I do understand that some of the things that we went through keeps us from performing. Now, you
Yes.
probably have a better way of saying what you're saying, but I do believe that everybody does need some type of process to do that. But you keep mentioning trauma, which I think we also have a negative mindset about. define trauma for me.
So for me, it kind of comes into two realms. So you have like what people think of as trauma, as in like, you know, family violence, you know, car accidents, or those kinds of really nasty, big traumatic events. But you also have the more subtle stuff, which is more like what people didn't do. You didn't get acknowledged, you didn't get love, you didn't have someone looking out for you, and you received the messages that you weren't good enough, that you know, you weren't important, and those kinds of messages. And it doesn't even matter how it occurred. It's not that we had bad parents, it's just how we internalized the message and what we were feeling at the time. And then that becomes our core belief system, that becomes the program that we run all of our information through it like a filter. And so then that affects how we behave, how we believe about ourselves. And so it starts to then get reinforced through our interactions as we get older and have more experiences in the world. And it's because we're running from that program.
So this is truly awesome. So I'm gonna tell you, it's really hard. I'm not gonna say that. So that's my negative mindset. It's sometimes difficult as adults for us to open up and kind of get help. So I really want you guys on the line. This is like, she really took her time out to talk to us, and all of this stuff is probably 80% of the stuff I say to you guys all the time. So if you have some questions, this doesn't necessarily have to be about you. It could be about anything else, but we definitely need to manage our mind as much as we manage our business. So I would ask questions if I were you. So I'm gonna open up the floor.
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, and I'm actually, I was in this situation, um, where it's a group of friends, and um, you kind of have like the ambition, the drive. However, you don't have the monetary, or like the group of friends that would necessarily support you how you support them. How do you kind of back and kind of regroup for, for yourself, um to make your own pathway and not be
Um,
under them, so to say?
so there's a couple of things on that. So you're supporting them and they're not supporting you. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. So you know how they have the big money, not saying that you don't have the money. However, being that you'll throw out an idea or a suggestion of something you're going to do, being that they have the funds, they jump on it before you do. So it's like every time you mention something that's a great idea, they take it, they run with it, and it prospers. And it's like, okay, now I can't even do this no more. So how would you
Okay.
kind of like separate yourself from even being in that position?
So there's a couple things. So when you've got a great idea, they're not the people to be running and telling your great idea to, because they've already proven that they're not going to be the ones to support you. They're going to be the ones to take it and run with it. So, and I firmly believe this, when you have a big dream and you have a goal, it is like a baby. It is like a little egg. You need to nurture it. And so you need to be careful where you place that energy and that intention and that dream, because not everybody, as you know, has good intentions for it. So I would suggest be careful where you are sharing your dreams. And also, there's a second thing in there that I heard. Let me come back to it. Sorry, I lost it. It's the boundary as well. So sorry, I got lost. um, did that make sense on just that one part though? Did you understand
Yes.
that? And it wasn't to blame you, but it's actually a real thing, is to be careful where you're sharing your information. Not that we want to think that everybody's out to do the wrong thing by us, but it's to practice integrity and boundaries and um, holding that for ourselves.
Okay.
Does that make
Yes.
sense?
So what do we do with the mindset of, if I feel like I always have to share these ideas because I don't feel that I have enough of me, I don't have enough to make it happen, so I
Well,
need
then
someone.
that's the mindset that you work on, because that's not true. It feels like it's true, but if when you start working on that, I can't and I don't have enough. I don't have enough and not enough is a theme that we end up running, and it's just not true when you start to actually break it down and understand how reality and the universe actually works on a fundamental level. So that there is where you start. That I can't do it and I don't have enough, it that that's where you start.
I have a question.
Mm,
Okay, so my with me, I think my whole thing is fear.
mm-hmm,
Um, like I've been self-employed forever, for most
mm-hmm,
of my life. Okay, and I think that because I got comfortable in what I was doing, it was just easier. I know what it takes to be self-employed, okay, because that's all I've ever done. But because
mm-hmm,
I'm in doing something new and I'm not a talker, I
mm-hmm,
don't I talk, of course I talk to people I know, but to get out there and project myself to other people for fear of rejection.
mm-hmm. That's a big one, and
Right.
a lot of us are running that.
So I
that
know
do,
that it takes hard work to get where it is that you need to do. You need to go out there. You need to market. You need to go out there and advertise. You need to. I know that because that's what I had to do to build my business that I am currently doing. Okay, so
mm-hmm,
now it's just based on referrals for me, for the
mm-hmm,
business that I've always done. I'm a hairstylist, right? So
mm-hmm,
now that I am in this new, I'm an agent, the fear of, like I said, the fear of getting out there talking and having somebody to hold my hand while I do what I do until I get comfortable in what I'm doing, it's very fearful for me.
mm-hmm.
How do I get out of that?
One, I think it's important to understand that we do it when we're scared anyway, and it's about supporting ourselves and our nervous system through that, and that's where we become more comfortable. The the second that your desire to succeed and your desire to have the outcome is stronger than your fear, it'll be easy. So if you want to overcome that fear, is to work on your mindset and know that you have nothing to be afraid of. You are just as worthy and just as equal. Just because you don't have as much experience doesn't mean anything. So you're just as worthy. So you work on your mindset of that fear, and then you get comfortable being uncomfortable, because by doing it, that's where you get the experience. And then it's also tapping into the desire of why you're doing this, the outcome that it's going to, what is it going to give you? And then when your desire is stronger than your fear, then your desire becomes the drive, and the fear takes a backseat and becomes so much easier.
Right.
That was good. And thank you, Miss Nikki, for being open enough to ask that question, because a lot of us really do have that problem, and we're just not going to be strong enough to say it. So let's unpack some of that, Cherie. So you said your fear, your result and your desire to have has to be stronger than your fear. So
Mm,
is that a conversation that we should be having with ourselves? Like, how do I increase the desire? I'm just a regular person, and I know that I want to be successful in real estate. I see people being successful. I see it all around me, but I'm really, really, really scared. How do I increase the desire? Because that's probably the only way that I can make that first step. How do I increase that? What does that look like?
So then
Exactly.
you direct your energy into the desire and you less into the fear. So whatever you're directing your energy into and your focus into is going to grow. So rather than focusing on all the things that could go wrong or all the reasons why you don't want to, because you might get rejected, or insecurity and shame and all those things that are going to be coming up for you, yes, we want to address them and we want to support ourselves through them, but we want to redirect our focus and our energy into what's going to go right. You have the desire to do it. You know that it is possible. You see it being done. So tap into that, focus on that. Because if you have the desire and you know that you can do it, the only difference between you and the people that you see succeeding is time and
Mm,
consistency.
mm, that's good. So I'm at home or I'm hesitant because a lot of people don't even come into the office because they're just hesitant of a lot of exercises and things. I'm home and I'm saying, okay, I got to do this exercise. Cherie told me I got to increase my desire so that I can reduce my fear. Do I start that process with journaling? Do I start it with praying? Do I
Yeah,
start it with being around other people, looking at more positive things? Like, what's the number one step?
the number one step would be understanding how your thoughts and your emotions create your reality. If you don't
Mm,
understand how that works, go and look at some quantum physics and understand that what you believe to be true will be true, has to be true. It's the law of assumption and the law of attraction. You had the universe and reality has no choice but to conform to what you believe is true. So if you are focusing on your desire and your belief that you can succeed and you keep going, you keep taking the next best step for you, then your results are guaranteed. So you stay in that energy. You bring yourself into that belief and that desire and that energy, and you practice staying there. That might sound a little bit woo woo, but it's actually how it works. And then people call that manifesting. But for first steps on how you're going to do that is, like you said, journaling, vision boards, affirmations, and those kinds of things are really going to help you focus on the outcome rather than the obstacles.
Hey, Cherie, man, I really want to say thank you. This is one of the things I really in love with in the last recent years because of some family trauma of mine that I went through, and it kind of had to open my eyes up. But I joined this veterans group, a mind body skills group, and we go through this stuff. So, as in recent years, I've become this what I call myself an entrepreneur hippie because all the manifestations, all the things. One of my tools that I use, and you guys look it up, it's called emotional guidance scale. So it's pretty much a spiral that kind of tells you which direction or which emotion that you need to use to get yourself out of a funk. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I follow. Have you heard of Joe Dispenza? Joe Dispenza.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm in love with this guy. So this guy, he pretty much takes mindfulness and breaks it down to the science and what
Mm,
molecules that's going on in your brain to make you feel a certain way. And one of his sayings is, if you do not have a program, you will be programmed. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
So you definitely got to put your mind and put your head in a space. I think you guys heard me say it before. If you're in a funk, do something different. That's the quickest way to get you out of that funk. That's part of the skill that I'm talking about. So understand the science of it. Understand being mindful. Why do I feel this way? Sometimes you just got to stop and say, why am I mad? If you're driving in the car and you blowing your horn, you roll rage and say, stop and say, why am I really mad? And
Mm-hmm.
then the more you do that, the more you start understanding the emotions and the feelings that are putting you in these certain places. And then you start to kind of
Absolutely.
adjust a little bit. So
Absolutely.
thank
Thank
you,
you.
thank you for that, AK. Because it's not easy to admit that I have a problem. I think that's really well, I know that's the first step. Is, you know what? There is an issue here. I can't beat around it. I can't say that that works for you, but this doesn't work for me. It works for everybody. And like I was saying in the beginning, the mind is a muscle. It has to be exercised and it has to be used, but more importantly, it can be controlled. It's just a matter of
Mm,
steps that we use in order to make that happen. So the more we figure that we are adults, but we can be trained, we still things that we need to work on, the faster we can get to where we want to be. So if you guys don't have the practices, if you're dealing with something, you don't have to necessarily say what it is. Like AK said, I got some childhood trauma. But the first step is to recognize it. So it's an awesome tool that we have right here. Cherie is taking the time to answer some of my questions, and we all have something, because if we were where we wanted to be and we were successful, we would already have what we wanted to have. And I say it all the time, it's somebody that we have to become. And those are the steps that we're talking about today. How do I become the person that is going to receive the things that I want to receive?
I would like to say something.
Mm-hmm.
This is Danille. Okay, Cherie, I have experienced childhood drama, and a couple years of my life I couldn't talk, so I had to stay out of school for 2 years to learn how to learn how to speak, and so as I grew up, I used to write dear Lord's letter and what I wanted to him to help me work on, and I overcame a lot of it, and I don't stutter anymore like I used to when I talk. But the sound of my voice is one of my insecure because um someone always saying the way I sound, but then when I explain to them that the reason of my sound and in my situation or why I sound this way, but I'm gonna skip past that. So as I grew up, I quit writing the dear Lord letter and what I wanted. I started writing down my goals and I started writing my vision. I started doing vision board every year. So I started accomplishing my goal. As I
Mm-hmm.
started accomplishing my goal, I noticed like my friends and family and certain people around me started, you know, I guess when I was down, everybody was on board. But when I started blossom coming out the swamp, I seen people in my life start jumping ship. So now that I'm grown, I have fear of being successful. Now I know how to be successful
Mm-hmm.
because I run a business and I have several business venture that I do, but I haven't put it to the max because I'm scared of getting to that place and being alone. So I suffer with imposter syndrome. And when
Mm-hmm.
I'm focused, I don't know how to balance life and career. I neglect family for
Mm-hmm.
for whatever I got in my mind. Going like whatever, it's like I can't break loose until I see it happen. So i I told my husband that I was gonna go get tested because I think I kind of semi suffer with ADHD as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Yeah. Yes. So there's a few things in that. So there's the fear of rejection. There's the fear of abandonment, and uh, then hyper focusing on your work as a way to kind of block some of that stuff out, which is, we all do that. We all have versions of these things that we come into. Some of them, we have a different story, but we end up with very similar wounds, and then we end up with variations of how they present in our adult life. So, and you've nailed it, like you've kind of nailed it down into like, this is the problem that I'm having. I could be a lot more successful, but I'm holding myself back out of fear of being abandoned and rejected. So you already know what the problem is, so you're further ahead than some people. So then it's for you to do that on your own, is to really question what you're losing. Like, who is it that you think is going to reject you? Is it likely that these people now in your life are going to do that? And if they did, what would be the worst thing that would happen? And if they were the people that would reject you when you're successful, are they the people that you want to have in your life anyway?
And believe it or not, I'm gonna tell you what I have done in my adult life. When I turned 25, when I started notice the change, then I started moving far away from my family. Like
Hmm.
my family stayed in Memphis. I moved to they stay in Memphis, Tennessee. I moved to Cordova, Tennessee. When they started moving towards Cordova, Tennessee, I moved out far. So now I stay in Oakland, Tennessee. Um, I just put myself in a situation now to where I just feel like this is my mindset now that I'm a adult. When you're a child, you don't have control over your family and your life.
Hmm.
So you have to deal with it. Now that I'm grown, it's like I pick and choose who I want to be my family. Even though we share the same blood, I look at it, we still not family.
And you're entitled to hold that boundary for yourself. Absolutely. It's also can be helpful to have compassion because they're operating out of their own traumas as well. So they've got their own stories and they've got their own traumas that have not been healed and they're operating. And that can help us have compassion and forgiveness, which takes some of the edge off as well. But you are entitled to hold your boundary and have integrity for yourself.
And I
Absolutely.
and I would say, let's be honest. Our culturally, we hold a lot of baggage. We technically, our grandmother, great grandmother told our parents to do this, and they told us to do this, and they told us to do this, or they seen this and they seen that, and they tell us all the time, don't go this way, don't do this, don't do that. So family and friends that's close to us, when we're trying to excel, sometimes, and this is my belief, can be our biggest weight. You know what I mean? And their family, yes, have compassion for them, but we don't have to hold on to this, because what we holding on to is that trauma. Really, a lot of times we have them on their past stories, those past don't do's, those past everything, and we bring all that stuff with us. And it may be as simple as, like you said, move a little bit farther. I think you're a lot farther along than you think, because, like we said before, it's mindfulness. You recognizing the problem.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to find a different outlet. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's all you got to do. You keep going back to the source mentally. You're going away physically, but mentally you keep going back. So you got to figure out how to untap from them mentally. Come back home on Sundays, have dinner. I love y'all. I'll see y'all next Sunday. I ain't talking to y'all no more. You know what I mean? Because those are people that's going to stop you from doing stuff because of their fears.
So so it's like now that I'm in, like, okay, my trucking company running great. My
Mm-hmm.
insurance company is picking up. It's picking up. Is doing good. My it's like my real estate company is kind of like, and it's almost like when I meet other realtors that's not in my area, I click with them. The ones in my area kind of wishy washy. So it's almost like I go back to that family connection when I'm dealing with business, because they tell you in real estate everything is based off relationship. And so my experience relationship was with my family. Your family and your friends is your first relationship. So it's like I start off as a good friend, but when it feel too good for me, I back I back up. Even though it's no problem there, it's just I always be looking for the what if something happen.
Yeah.
But
Just the fear. Yeah, definitely. And that's totally understandable. You can definitely work on that fear. And I think if you're anytime anyone is having a difficulty in a relationship, the place to start is the relationship with yourself. Because when
mm,
you strengthen the relationship with yourself and you are living to your own values and you're holding yourself, you know, safe and you're supporting yourself, then it reflects in your relationship. So anytime that you're having any type of difficulty, the place to start is with you and your relationship with yourself.
Man, this is
Like super awesome. And I thank you guys for sharing. So a lot of us have that issue. A lot of us should be here sounding in our head saying, I didn't even realize that's where I have the problem that I have, because we all have a problem, right?
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
so you mentioned EFT earlier. Can you help us with that? Can you explain it to us?
So EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, and it kind of works on like Chinese acupuncture and acupressure. And so you have points. Think I've got a video up on my page if you want to have a look at it. So you have the points on your body that you tap, and you can use it just to resolve basic like surface level anxiety. So you tap through and you reaffirm to yourself that you're safe, and it moves the energy through the meridian points, and it centers and rebalances your nervous system, and helps you in the moment. But when I'm working with my clients, I use it on a much deeper level and tap right back into the very source and the root cause of the childhood trauma. And then I work to reprogram that through. So you can do it on your own, and you can just vent. You can just vent all the everything, go through and tap it out, and just get really, really in touch with your emotions and what you're actually really feeling. And you might surprise yourself with the journaling. It's like kind of a similar thing. The emotions that you might find that are trapped that you're holding on to, and the beliefs that you're holding on to, they come to the surface and they can be released. And so by tapping on the energy points in the body, it releases that trauma and that energy and the blocks from your body at the same time. And then that really just accelerates the healing process. So that's how I use it in my practice with my clients. And then you go through and you reaffirm, that you're safe and powerful and all of the good things that you are. We just block ourselves from the truth of that.
So you say vent. So if I'm doing this on my own, am I venting to myself, or do I need to find a safe place where I can vent to someone?
You can do it on your own. I use it for myself. I've had major breakthroughs on my own with this stuff, but I have had someone coach me and lead me through it previously, so that might be helpful for you to look at doing that as well. But do it intuitively. Like, we know we are our own best guide and our own best healer. So just follow yourself and what feels safe for you. If being alone in a private, safe place feels what's right for you, then do that. If having someone there to support you feels right, do that. Really, it comes back to learning how to trust yourself again as well, because when we've experienced trauma, we are so disconnected from ourselves. We have so little trust and faith in ourselves. So getting back in touch with that and really moving from that place helps a lot.
Awesome. Do you guys have any questions? So, Cherie, I really do appreciate you having this conversation with us. I hope that you guys actually take some of these tools and use them in your life. We all have a place in our area where we need to work on ourselves and work on being just a better person for our business, for ourselves, for our family. And Tania, I want to give you a special shout out because I know what it's like to work through some things and push yourself past some things. And you did the work. It's very few people who want to do the work. I see a lot of people complain. I see a lot of people who just deal with it and they pass it on to other people. But I see very few people who say, you know what, I know this is my issue. I'm going to work through that issue and I'm going to build these boundaries until I get out of it and have a strong desire to be better as you do. So, whatever it was that you did, I want you to continue to share that with people because it's an awesome technique.
Thank you.
It's awesome. So, Cherie, if you could tell these people how to get in touch with you, how to find you on social media, I think it would be a great idea for you guys to reach out just to get you some steps and some tools because we all need them in our life.
Thank you so much for having me. I really hope that you guys got some value out of that. I feel like I wasn't the best at some points, but yeah, you can find me on Cherie_mindset coach on Instagram. Janelle follows me, so if you have any trouble, I'm sure you could reach out and she could hook you up. But I really appreciate being here and having this conversation, and you guys trusting me with this stuff and sharing. So thank you very much.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Now, AK, you had mentioned Reiki. Can you kind of explain it? I saw you put it in the chat.
Oh, there you go. Oh, that's kind of when I realized that this shit was real. When I went through a Reiki session, and it seems very, uh, for lack of a better word, witchcrafty. But I felt the energy, and when my Reiki practitioner actually did it, and you could feel the energy moving through you, and that's when I became a true believer. So I just wanted to see if she could touch on that a little bit. She still there?
Me?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Cherie.
Wait. Oh, yeah. The energy
Do you
or
do
the
any
Reiki?
Reiki sessions?
Oh, I do EFT, which is a similar thing, but
The
in some
tapping.
ways, yeah, the tapping. But yeah, working with the energy, and energy is so real, and you guys would know that even if you don't know that, you know that by vibes. When we talk about bad vibes, good vibes, you guys are picking up on energy. So energy is a very real thing. The entire universe and everything in it is made out of energy. So yeah, I'm a firm believer as well. Was there anything in particular that you wanted me to touch on, AK, on that?
No, nothing else. That was it. I just
Uh,
the authenticness of it. So,
it's amazing. Yeah, if you
mhm.
can find someone that would do that kinesiology or Reiki for you, yeah. There's so many tools that are available to us to kind of work through this stuff. It's awesome.
So one of the agents or one of the people on here had a question. What are some good morning and evening routines that we could use for mindset?
Definitely start your day with intention. Start your day envisioning the day and the life and the energy that you want to have and bring into it. And you can start with really basic things. You know, I am an amazing real estate agent. I am building relationships with everyone I meet. You can start with some really basic stuff and really tap into the feeling of that. What would your life feel like if you were, you know, at the point in your business that you wanted to be at? What would that feel like? Get in touch with that. So spend some time doing that. Spend some time doing some journaling. And at the end of the night, run through um, and just thank yourself for putting in the effort for everything that you did do in reaching your goals. Having some gratitude for yourself also goes a really long way, because we're doing stuff that we don't necessarily want to do, but we're doing it anyway. So some gratitude for yourself, gratitude for the life, for what you've got, and then envisioning again the life that you want to have, the end result of what you want to have, and just keeping that at the forefront and tapping into that energy consistently. And yeah, focusing on that rather than the fear or the obstacles, and just know and trust and believe that you've got this, you can do this, you can be and do whatever you want and be successful.
So this question is for me because I wake
Mm-hmm.
up in the morning and I tell myself all the time, I'm good at mornings, right? I'm a badass everything, right? I am my biggest cheerleader and I really do believe I'm the smartest person that I know. Like I tell myself that because I do a lot of studying and I can boost myself up to leave the house. It's when I get out the house and things start happening in the middle of the day. How do I rearrange and come back to that energy that I left the house with?
Good, great question. It's a really good one because we all struggle with this, I'm sure. um, I do a little ritual with my clients sometimes, and you might be able to do this for yourself as well, is when you're tapping into that energy of how amazing you feel when you're in that zone, when you know and you trust yourself and your goals and everything, that energy, if you can feel what that feels like, kind of name it. It
Mm,
feels expansive, it feels juicy, it feels alive, it feels whatever, and give it a color. It feels pink, it feels sparkly, or whatever it is. It's just a little visualization technique that you can use, and then come up with a really short phrase that kind of captures that energy and that intention. So, I am
mm.
whatever it is. I am the number one real estate agent in my area, or whatever it is, whatever it means to you. Come up with a little catchphrase that really captures that energy and that intention. And it can kind of serve as a shortcut during the day to kind of bring you back into that energy.
That's good. So y'all hear me running around talking about I'm a badass pink girl. Don't be thinking I'm crazy. It's me re-energizing
Mm-mm.
myself.
No, it's just to bring it, just drop yourself back into it. Just go, yeah, I remember. I remember. And it's just, I find that it's just an easy way because you don't need to find a quiet place necessarily. You don't need to sit. You don't need to de stress. You can just go, hang on for a second. I got this. I am, whatever your phrase is, and see how you go. And maybe you might need to practice it, but let me know if it works. Let me know how it goes for you.
Oh, I'm definitely one of those people who like those type of tips and tricks because throughout the day I talk to a lot of people and I carry what they say, whether they believe I don't or not. So I go into responsibility mode. I don't know why I do that. Just like Tania's story, it's so intriguing to me that how she took from not being able to speak and taking it on her own time, taking it in her hands and getting to the place where she doesn't know how powerful that is, right? So
Yes.
I spend a lot of time when someone tells me something to pray about it and get there, and then it's not always, but it's certain days where I cannot just come out the phone. I'm usually good at ignoring people, but it does get overwhelming sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I use tips and tricks to make it throughout the day
Well, I
because
got another
sometimes.
tip for you if you want it
Hmm.
as well, just to help with that, because we do tend to take on people's energy. Um, you can just say and set a really short intention, and you can just say, "I now release all energy that does not belong to me."
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you can actually also do the reverse. You can call back all your energy. I now call back all energy that belongs to me.
yeah.
Sherry,
Definitely.
I'm gonna have to practice that because I have this 2 letter word. I'm a cursor. So it's like when I say when I'm like when negative energy or if something overwhelming come to me, I have the word fuck it.
Uh-huh.
I
That
know,
works for me.
but
Yeah.
when I say that word and I'm at the end with it, it's like it's signed, sealed in blood, and it's like it's signed, sealed, and delivered in blood.
There you go.
And it's like I close the chap on it.
There you go.
I don't
You did it.
around and look at it. I don't want to talk about it. If it's something that I don't care if it's a thing, person, whatever, if I hate it or it pisses me off, I don't even I don't I feel like I don't want to even give it power by mentioning it.
There you
So
go.
it's like I
You're onto
walk
something.
away.
All
It's
right.
like
I was about to say that's good.
it's like when I walk away from it, I don't even turn around and look back because I done closed the book on it. And it come out to people like I'm being stubborn. Uh I it's like I'm being stubborn or I'm kind of being aggressive. But it's that's the way I protect me because I can only control my mind, my energy,
Mm-hmm.
my mouth, my act.
Absolutely.
And that word keep me from going to a place that I don't want to go or visit or going down a line I don't want to visit the old me.
Excellent. I love it. If that's working for you, stick with that because I say the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it. As long as you feel like that's an honest release and there's no like underlying resentment or guilt or anxiety attached to it, as long as it's a clean, clear fuck it and putting it down, then that is perfect. That is amazing. But if you feel like there's an energetic tie there that you need to kind of address and have a look if there's like a fear-based something there. If not, excellent. If there is, just consider it and and
Mm.
and look at what that might be.
Hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I really, really hope this helped you guys. If all hearts are clear, we were going to. I see a lot of things in the chat, so know that I have recognized and see these things. But I really did hope this helped you guys. So that's why I asked Cherie to come on because we don't talk about this enough. We talk about how to be successful. We would talk about all the plays we need to run to make a lot of money. And you see so much on the internet about how to make 6 figures and how to be the number one this and the number one that, but nobody talks about the internal part that you have to do to keep it because you can get there, But if you don't work on yourself on the inside and come up with some practices, you won't stay there. So it's highly
Yeah.
important for us to implement these things in our life. So if you just heard one thing or you just experienced one, use it to make yourself a better person and do the work, guys. It's not easy, but it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. So do anyone else have any questions for Cherie?
It, is Sherry, are you in Houston?
Oh no.
On Instagram. Is
What
that what
city?
he said?
What? No, he asked you was you in Houston. What country are you in? She's not even in the.
I'm not in your
Oh,
postcode.
Yeah.
okay,
No.
okay.
I am in Australia on the Gold Coast, but I do online if that's what you were asking.
Okay, can you give your Instagram one more time?
It's Cherie, CHERIE _ mindset coach.
Gotcha.
And that's the beauty of the internet, right?
That's
Finding
amazing.
people and connecting with them that you probably wouldn't normally connect with. And so we connected on Instagram, and I watch her posts, and I can connect with them with my energy. I realized that I knew that she was a really great person to speak with. And I'm always telling you, even if you are a coach, even if you are successful, even if you're at the highest of your thing, everybody needs someone to talk to. Everybody needs a coach. Everybody needs some direction. And so I enjoyed a lot of the things that she posts and conversations. So I asked her to come on. Like I say, it's midnight in Australia right now. It's almost 12:30 in the morning. So she stood up and waited. I mean, she waited and stayed up in order to help me with this. And I greatly appreciate you. You did not have to do that. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for having me. It was really nice to talk to you guys.
All right. Have a great day. I'll see you guys today in class. We have class at noon. It is CE. It's the addendum. So if you don't know how to use the addendums, please come in. We will have Naisha. It's a great time for you to come in and connect so she can do some co-marketing with you. She's really great at marketing. She does have a marketing degree. And we also have a lender who is not a lender, I'm sorry, a title company that is a Black-owned title company that they just started. I guess thank you, AK, for the introduction. The guy called me yesterday and was like, AK said you're the person I need to talk to, but they're investor focused. So they wanted to actually come in the office and talk to you guys. So they will be doing a lunch and learn, but they will also be in the office today. So if you guys don't have anything else, I'm headed to the office, and I hope you guys be great. And I'll see you later. And again, thank you, Cherie.
That's at 12, right?
The lunch and learn is at 11. The class is at 12. Yes.
Mm, okay, all right.
Anything else, guys?
Then we got Smiling Doll.
Yes, we have Smile and Dial.
Yay.
And Camila, I saw that you asked for someone going to be there. Head on in. I'm about to head in
Okay.
myself.
Yay. Okay. Hope
Oh,
everybody can
I
make it.
also
Thank you. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Janelle. Thank y'all so much.
all right, guys. And before you leave, I did want to invite you to go ahead and sign up on Eventbrite for next week's formal fine dining experience class. So we will have a fine dining etiquette class, and we have a coach from the Houston Etiquette School coming in, and she's going to teach and walk us through fine dining, and we will serve a 3-course meal and practice in the moment. So I am posting that link in GroupMe in just a second. You can find the event on Eventbrite, and I'll also email out Gmail, but the only thing there is it's very limited space, so it's certainly a first come first serve situation, and I wanted to go ahead and give you guys the first dibs at it. Thank you guys for joining the conversation today. It was awesome.
With the fine dining, guys, we're going to be in the hold energy. So you're going to dress up. This is an excellent time for you guys to learn because we're going to go. The holidays are coming up, and you guys are going to be invited to several dinners, balls, sponsorships. So this is an excellent opportunity for you to dress up, feel the energy. So participate 100%. If you decide to come dressed up in your after five wear. Come ready to learn so that we can go out and show the world that CR Elite are some really bomb people. So I'll see you guys later. I'm heading to the office now.